This is my final presentation for BUS 325, Advanced Writing for the Business Professional, and it's a comparative analysis of two annual reports. The first company that I chose is Barnes & Noble, and according to the annual report, it is one of nation's largest bookseller. At the time of this report, it had 633 stores. Some of its products include books, ebooks, toys, games, music, and textbooks. It also has digital business that includes e-commerce, bn.com, Nook, as a publishing hub called Sterling Publishing. And according to the report, it did reduce some of its costs by 137 million. Its mission is to provide an omni-channel experience for its customers, fulfilling its commitment to offer customers any book, anytime, anywhere, and any format. The second company I decided to choose is The Village. According to its annual report, it is Connecticut's largest provider of extended day treatment and the second largest provider of outpatient therapy for children. It has a collaborative trauma center. Some of its services include holistic and supportive. They help children, adults, and families, and some of the things that people suffer from are neglect, abuse, anxiety, trauma, and bullying. The first section of the annual reports that I chose to go over is the letter to shareholders. And the criteria that we're currently going to compare them by is visual information and formatting. So Barnes and Noble's, its visual information has no pictures. Has very little color. It's mostly white. It does have a little grayish green at the top where its heading is. As far as formatting goes, it doesn't really have variations in font except for the heading, and it has a slight border. The Village is drastically different. It has a lot more color. Visually, it has pictures. It has pictures of the president and CEO of the company as well as the board chair. It also has people and kids in the group. I believe they're near a school, one of their schools. And this to me is conveying that what they're about and what they value and what they're trying to get across. Their colors and images are visually appealing and also inviting. Formatting has variations of font and color and also placement. So on the left side with the large picture, it has purple color. It also has orange. It has white. The font is some of it's smaller, some of it's bigger, but it comes together very nicely. And the salutation and the signatures of the letter are blue. And according to an article from Very Well Mind, blue is a color of stability and reliability. So I believe that is conveying a lot of meaning. They do have a little bit of similarities between the two of them. Basically, it's where their text is, it's mostly a white background, and that's really all of the similarities. Then the next criteria that we are going to be going over is language and content. Barnes and Nobles, their language, their salutation is "Dear Shareholder," which is very formal. Their content is their tone is very factual. They're basically just talking about, the facts, things that they have to say and they're required to say. He says store sales declined 6.3% for the year. However, he does kind of blame consumers a little bit in the beginning, a little bit a negative tone I detected. He says it's abundantly clear that consumers are changing their shopping behavior, and he was attributing that to their decline and what they need to do going forward. Towards the end of the letter, he does introduce that they have a new chief executive officer, and I think he was trying to be a little bit more uplifting, but it just felt very cold and distant, and that there wasn't really a lot of emotion behind it. He says, "We have a new chief executive officer, Demos Parneros, who comes to us with a wealth of retail experience. He is fully immersed in our business, and I have great confidence in his ability to work with the management team to effect positive change." I feel like that's just a very like formal scripted thing to say, and there's just not a lot of emotion, even though he's, kind of saying something positive. The village, their language is different. Their salutation is "dear friends." I feel like this is friendly, inviting, and they're trying to build a connection with you and draw you in. As far as content goes, the tone seems to be a little bit more hopeful and uplifting, and even though that they are talking about some serious content and some really sad things to do with health and what's happening to people, they are trying to keep it a little bit light to kind of explain what they're doing and what they're hoping to accomplish. They do say that their 3-year strategic plan is becoming a reality, and so we can rejoice with them, and they're exploring ways to provide behavioral health services to adults. The only similarity really is that they're both kind of just doing an overview of the year of what happened and what they need to report. The next section that I chose to talk about is the mission statements, and we will be reviewing them with the criteria of visual information and formatting. So Barnes& and Nobles, to provide an omni-channel experience for its customers, fulfilling its commitment to offer customers any book, anytime, anywhere, and in any format. Visually, the visual information that it's giving is that it does kind of reflect its core values and beliefs. But I just feel like it's the meaning it's conveying. It just seems like it's not important. It's not explaining what they strive to do or core principles or anything. It's just about getting the customer what they want when they want it. As far as formatting goes, it is concise. It is within the parameters that a mission statement needs to be, but it's placed within the body of the report. It was difficult to find. I had to look several times. It's the same font as the rest. There's nothing to distinguish it from anything or, draw attention to it. And like I said, it was not easily found. The Village, their mission statement is to build a community of strong, healthy families who protect and nurture children. Visual information that it's giving is that it does reflect core values and beliefs, and that this was placed on the front page of the report for everyone to see, and that conveys that it's important. And that it means something to them. Formatting it is concise and clear. It's focused, and the font is larger, white, and it's on the front page and just kind of pleasingly jumps out at you. The next criteria that we're going to go through the mission statement with is language and content. So language for Barnes& and Noble, I contains an unclear word omni-channel. Not everyone knows what that means, so that is considered to be jargon. It is a little catchy, at the end, but it's not very motivational, and it is very customer focused. The content, it identifies purpose for existence, which is the consumers, and it addresses needs of one group of shareholders, which are stakeholders, which is customers. The Village, their language is clear, easy to understand, free from jargon. It's motivational and it resonates with others. As far as content goes, it identifies purpose for existence, helping children and families, and addresses needs of shareholders, which is the community. Some takeaway from this is that annual reports are, what everyone sees, what stakeholders see, or any potential stakeholders. And so it needs to be engaging and interesting and creative. It's a communication tool that's going to connect with others and try to, you know, draw you in and explain, why their purpose for existence is something that you need to, help or, be a part of. If it's boring with little effort and there's, bare minimum, no variations of fonts or color, and it's devoid of visuals, it can send the wrong message to stakeholders that there's indifference or it's not very important. And that's kind of what happened with these companies. The Village shows passion for their business and stakeholders, but Barnes and Noble's lacks vision, color, passion, and a connection to stakeholders. So, with that said, I found the Village to be more effective, and more pleasing and inviting. I did decide to do the optional, create a company and explain how I would organize it. So my company is Golden Oasis LLC, which is an adult daycare center, which is near and dear to my heart. And I would kind of follow similar to what the Village did with their annual report. I would make sure that it's engaging and it builds a connection. I would make sure that the content, is organized with integrity and honesty, and everything that needs to be reported is reported. But I would definitely design it, differently. And I would make sure that there's a lot of visuals and narrative driven interactive. The Village, it didn't, get to that part because of the parameters of the project, but they go through a lot of stories and real people who what they're going through and why their company is doing good. Um, so yeah, I would use visuals and pictures and colors to draw attention, and I would make sure that I have pictures of major events that we had during the past year before the report comes out, with permission, featuring elderly clients, of course. But to show that, this business isn't just a business that pops out numbers. It's real. It's real people that are being affected by what we're doing. I would still make sure that it has the proper content, letter to shareholders, mission statement. I would make sure there's narrative stories, business profile, management analysis, and financial statements.